All right, Autodesk Inventor, we're going to be working on drawing, doing some basics here, building some borders. So what I'm going to do is click on the new icon, and I'm not doing a new standard part, I'm going to do a new standard IDW. Inventor drawings we want to do as IDWs. Double click that, gives me a piece of paper, it has my border on there with a title block, everything's in there. I don't want to use this one, I want to make my own. I'm going to right click on the sheets, and tell it to delete the sheet. That's going to get rid of all those graphics. I'm going to say yes, delete it. I want some control over what I'm doing. I click on there and tell it that I want to edit the sheet. On this sheet size, if you look, I now have an 8.5 by 11 sheet of paper that is in a landscape orientation. I can click on my down arrow here and go to a B-size drawing. This gives me an 11 by 17 piece of paper. This quarter we'll be doing our drawings on either an A size or a B size. I'm going to have you draw and put together borders for your work on an A size and a B size. You can go in there and give it a name for that sheet type. I'm just going to leave that alone and click OK. I want to put a border around this. Our border wants to be 1/4 of an inch off of all the areas, right? So if I look right now, I'm on a tab for placing views in. I don't want to do that. Next is annotate for putting dimensions on. That's not what I'm working on. I want to work on building a sketch. Just like in the 3D package, every time I click on this Start Sketch, that is a new sketch that has nothing to do with any other sketches, other than that they're in the same drawing. So if I'm trying to edit a sketch, I need to go to the sketch in the model tree that I want to edit. I click on this, I'm in the drawing now, I click on a rectangle, and I want to place that 1/4 of an inch off there. Well, I know that this lower left-hand corner is at coordinates of 0 on the X and 0 on Y, and I can see my X and Y coordinates. I can try and move in there real carefully and sneak up on 1/4 by 1/4, or I can hit the tab key, move in there and go, I want it to be 1/4 of an inch on the X axis, 1/4 of an inch on the Y axis, press enter, and it anchored my rectangle down to that corner. Taking 1/4 of an inch off 11 inches and 1/4 of an inch off of 8 inches would put me at 10.5, tab, 8 inches. Press enter, there's my box sitting there. I can come in here and build another box, building my boundary and borders, tell it what dimension I want this box to be, and I'll say, I'll make it 5 inches. Give me a height on this box from here to here. Again, these are parametric driven, aren't they? And I can go that I want to be 1.5 inches. I can put a line in here, connect onto the side here, and connect onto the other side. Put a dimension on, going from this line to this line, and saying, yeah, it's 3/4 of an inch. That's because I went to the center of the lines, and I'm just going to accept that and go, all right, whatever, cancel what I was trying to do there. I can right click on it and tell it to go OK, but I can right click and also tell it to delete that line. I'll put another line in because I want to go from here to here. And I'm going to say make the dimension on this one from one side to the other. I want to make that 1/2 inch, 0.5. There we go. Put that 1/2 inch dimension in there. I can even zoom in on this, make this a little bit easier. So did I close that shape? It sure looks like it's all closed. Good. All right. I can throw another line in here. I'll go to the center of this line, wherever that is. Let me zoom out just a little bit. There's center to there. All right. So in our drawings, we want to have these fields or elements in our drawing border to tell us information, title, and so on. So I click the text box. I click in this space, it brings up the text box, and I highlight this and say I want this to be a little bit smaller for those element names, field names. I'm going to tell it that I want it to be 1/16 of an inch, which is 0.0625, and you can see it went smaller. All professional drawings, everything's in uppercase, not title case, not sentence case. It's all uppercase. On your drawings throughout the quarter, if you turn in stuff in which the drawings do not have all uppercase, I will mark your drawings down. Standards are we don't do it that way. I'm going to right click, tell it okay, I'm done with this. I can move that title wherever I want it to be. So I put it right there. Tell it that I want to zoom in on this. Then I click on that and tell it that I want to right click and tell it to copy that. Right click, tell it to paste. So now I can grab that and move it over here, line it up with the other one. I'm not going to edit the text. Now if I click the first one and I hold down the control key, I get the second one. Right click, tell it to copy. Right click, tell it to paste. Or I could even use my Windows keyboard shortcuts, right? I'm going to click on both of these, hold down the control key, move these two into position. There we go. I want to edit them. Double click on it and I can change the name, whatever I want it to be, right? Okay, this quarter, you need to build your own unique title block. Whoever turns theirs in first, that will be a unique title block. The next one that comes in needs to be unique. It cannot look like the previous one. Every one that comes in, it better be done uniquely. If you're looking at somebody else's work and you're not building a unique title block, a unique border for yourself, keeping the title block in the lower right hand corner, which is the standards, I'm going to kick it back and tell you it needs to be a unique border. So one of the things to pay attention to, remember, it's my job as your instructor to be highly critical of your work. Oh, how you guys have missed that, right? All right, so that gets us started on putting a border together. On the additional drawings that I do, putting dimensions in and showing you the how to do the next steps in drawings, I will not be including a title block on my stuff. The reason for that is to leave it to your imagination to come up with a title block. If you need help with that, you can go to your print reading book for industry, and there's an entire section that is about title blocks and title block elements, telling you what should be in there. I'm going to tell you right now, and on your assignment sheet it'll also say it, you need to make sure that you have certain fields already set inside of your drawings. And so all IDW drawings must be dimensioned on a border to get credit, and the border fields that you're going to need to have, fields elements, you need to have a title, scale, date, quantity, drawn by, tolerance, a revision area, a place for materials, and a drawing number. Now, a couple things. On the revisions, I would start out with saying this is drawing revision 1.0. If you make minor changes, it should be 1.1. If it's a major revision, it should be 2.0. That keeps track of changes that you're making. On the tolerance, we're going to pretty much use a tolerance across the board of plus or minus 5 thousandths. So that'd be plus or minus 0.005. The other area that we should have is a place for materials. I leave it up to you what you want to do there for materials, but we can just leave it blank because we don't know if we're working with wood, steel, or aluminum on these drawings for the inventor assignments. So that should give you enough information to get started with border drawings.